There we go. So once again, you're all so welcome this Friday evening. And it's a dark Friday evening. I'm coming in from County Wicklow in Ireland. And really, this practice is inspired by just a few moments ago. I was cleaning up the kitchen after supper, doing all the dishes, and it's a clear night and the moon is out. And I don't know if anybody here has seen it, but that beautiful bright star beside the moon is out at the moment in this season of time. And I think it's not a star. I think actually it's a planet. It's the planet Venus. So it caught me mid-stride, and I had a cup of tea in my hand, and I sat down and opened the back doors up, and there's a lovely field outside of my back doors, and I sat down and felt the cold on my skin. And my dog Bluebell, she joined me. She came and sat with me, and we sat together breathing and just watching and listening. And there were all sorts of creatures that we could hear, and there was this overwhelming feeling that we were all simply breathing the same air together. And I really got a sense of breathing compassionately for my dog, for myself, for all those creatures in the field. And I thought tonight then we would do a practice on compassionate breathing. And it's really inspired by a meditation I once experienced by a woman called Vijamala Birch, who's the head of Breathworks and does a lot of work around people who are struggling with pain or long-term discomfort. And you may or may not have any pain or discomfort, but we can still breathe compassionately for ourselves and indeed for one another. So I thought that's what we would do this evening. So I invite you now just to find a posture that's really going to hold the practice for you this evening. Okay. So finding a comfortable position. And maybe just giving the body permission to really take a moment to settle into comfort. So lengthening the spine, if this feels okay. Rolling the shoulders back, opening the heart. And taking a few deep breaths. Inviting the body to soften a little bit more with each out breath. And taking a moment to set an intention for this practice. So perhaps an intention to cultivate a bit of tenderness and warmth and care for ourselves, but also for each of us who are here this evening, each of us who are not here, and all beings everywhere. And then briefly touching in with why the practice is important to you. What's brought you here this evening? What's going to keep you here this evening? What is my motivation to practice? And allowing intention and motivation just to rest in the heart, knowing we can always come back to it. If we ever get lost or feel overwhelmed, we can always come back, simply resting with our intention and our motivation. And then turning the attention to the breath. So as we become familiar with the breathing body, maybe noticing all the ways the body moves with the breath. The chest expanding and contracting. Maybe the belly is rising and falling. Or perhaps you can feel the breath in the back of the body. It's really sensing into the flow of breath. The rise and the fall of the breathing body. And now I'm going to invite you, if it's helpful, just to maybe using your imagination as a support for the breath. So maybe seeing if you might imagine the breath is a feather, gently rising and falling on the crest of a wave of a calm, calm sea. So falling in with the rhythm. Or if the image is a bit too distracting, you might like to just bring in a simple phrase to acknowledge each breath. Just resting the attention on the rise and fall and the phrase of breathing in, breathing out, whatever feels appropriate. Either working with the image or the phrase. And really seeing if the mind and body can settle around the rhythm of the breath. Now paying a little bit more attention to the out breath, connected to what it feels like to exhale. Maybe noticing the body's tendency to let go, to relax a little bit more with each exhalation. And then seeing if the mind can do the same. So letting go of that image of the feather or the phrase, and just inviting the mind to drop down into the body, opening up to whatever it is that you can feel. Maybe noticing any areas of tension or pain, discomfort. Seeing if we can step back a little bit and really, as we breathe in, just seeing if we can infuse the breath with tenderness, warmth, and kindness. And seeing if we can allow the breath to just soften around any uncomfortable sensations. Softening around any edges of discomfort. Again, we're not trying to change anything, just giving it space to be and wrapping discomfort in warmth, tenderness, and care. Or maybe there's something else here. Maybe there's something pleasurable, a tingling, an ease in the body. In the same way, seeing if we can really infuse our breath with that tenderness, warmth, and care, and just wrapping it around anything that's pleasurable. Not clinging to it, allowing it to move on, but we're just meeting it with compassion. And if you notice your body or your mind tensing up around any sensation or experience, maybe a sound, seeing if in the noticing we can let go and just sit back resting with this breath that's saturated in kindness and compassion as best we can. And then let's broaden our awareness out, really getting a sense of the space around the body, the whole of our experience. Noticing how each moment might have a mixture of pleasure and pain in it. This is just how it is being human. Seeing if we can rest in the midst of all that's happening around and within. And if you notice any grasping at anything pleasurable or maybe resistance towards something that's uncomfortable, seeing if we can just simply step back, stepping back from the grasping and resisting and resting in this breath that's saturated in warmth and tenderness as best we can. And then broadening our awareness out even further. Maybe noticing others around you, a sense of all of us here in the Zoom room. And reflecting how all of humanity experiences pleasure and pain. And maybe holding us all in awareness through this breath. We breathe in, and as we breathe out, breathing out tenderness, compassion, and care for all of us who are here. So we're all breathing a breath that might be saturated in kindness and compassion. If it doesn't feel that way, that's okay. We can just simply rest with the breathing body. Broadening out even further from this group of us here, Imagining all of humanity, all of life, imagining them resting in a field of kindness and care. So as we're breathing in warmth, and as we're breathing out kindness and care, saturating all of life as it rests, connected through this breath. Imagining the full community of life, soothed by the rhythm of this compassionate, tender, warm breath. Just spending a few moments simply breathing, being breathed, breathing for ourselves, breathing for each other, breathing for all of life, connected through the breath. And then as we're coming towards the end of the practice, just taking a moment to touch in with how we are. Bringing a hand to the heart, soothing any parts of us that need soothed. If there have been some benefits from sitting and practicing together in this way, making a wish for them to grow, to take seed in our heart, to flower, and sending the benefits out into the world in ever expanding circles. And you may like to bring a bit of movement to the body, stretch in a way that your body is asking you to as we finish the practice.